Life often deceives us with the idea that a perfect moment is coming, the magical instant when everything will align and we'll feel ready to act. But deep down, we know that this waiting is dangerous, as it keeps us stuck, trapped in our own comfort zone. It is precisely when we make the decision to act, without waiting for guarantees, that the true ideal moment arises. In this video, I want to inspire you to let go of the idea of perfection and understand that the power to change your life is already in your hands, ready to be activated by your first step. Every small decision and action taken today builds the path to the future you desire. Imagine how amazing it will be to look back and realize that it was your courage to start, even with fear, that transformed your reality. By the end of this video, you'll be filled with energy and determination, feeling that the path is clearer and that you are no longer someone waiting for a sign, but a creator of your own journey. If this message resonates with you, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and comment the phrase, "I choose to act," to affirm your commitment to change. After all, every time you choose to act, you are one step closer to your purpose. 1. The first step is powerful. Life often places us in challenging situations, moments when we feel that something greater awaits us, yet we hesitate to take the first step. This waiting, this feeling that we need to be ready to act, is a trap that keeps many of us stuck in cycles of inertia and fear. Stoicism, however, offers us a completely different perspective. For Stoics, the true power of transformation lies in the decision to act, to begin, even when conditions are not ideal. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us of this when he says, "While we wait for life, it passes." Imagine yourself in ancient Rome, beside a young soldier named Marcus. Marcus was not a remarkable warrior nor someone with extraordinary skills. He was just a young man with dreams of making a difference, but tormented by doubt and the fear of failure. One morning, he approached his mentor, a Stoic sage known for his serenity and clarity of thought. Marcus confided his insecurities in the feeling that no matter how much he wanted to act, he wasn't ready. He wanted to wait until he was good enough or prepared enough. The sage, with an understanding look, told him a story. He said, "Once there was a man who stood by a river, waiting for the current to slow down so he could cross. He remained there day after day, hoping the flow would become gentler, safer. But the river never stopped. The waters continued to flow, just like life, in constant motion. And while he waited, time passed, and the man grew old without ever crossing the river. In waiting for the perfect moment, he missed the chance to live the crossing." The young soldier reflected on this story, and his mentor concluded, "Marcus, life is like that river. It doesn't stop to accommodate us. It doesn't wait for us to feel ready. Every day we spend waiting is a day we let slip away. The courage to act, to take the first step, is what separates those who make the crossing from those who remain on the shore." This lesson deeply impacted Marcus. He understood that the first step, though imperfect, was an act of courage, a break from inertia that would initiate a series of transformative actions. In Stoicism, there is a central idea. Our lives are defined not by the circumstances around us, but by how we choose to respond to them. Deciding to act, even without guarantees of success, is an act of self-mastery and trust. As Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. It doesn't mean waiting for luck, but creating your own luck by moving forward. When we talk about the first step, we are talking about breaking free from fear, from the need for certainties. It's natural to feel fear when facing the unknown, but by taking the first step, something magical happens. We take control over what is possible for us. This first move, no matter how small, triggers a chain of actions that begins to shape our reality. You might not see the results right away, but by persisting, the strength of your decision will reveal a path that was previously hidden, and the very act of moving forward becomes a source of strength and clarity. For example, consider the great emperor Marcus Aurelius. Known for his ability to lead with wisdom and compassion, he faced wars, plagues, and political conflicts during one of the most turbulent periods of the Roman Empire. There was no time to wait for perfect conditions. He needed to act amid chaos, fear, and uncertainty. In his writings, known as Meditations, Marcus Aurelius emphasizes the importance of making decisions based on our principles, not our circumstances. He teaches us that every step, no matter how small or uncertain, is a manifestation of our ability to create impact and live with purpose. By deciding to take the first step, you also access this strength. Even if the environment around you seems challenging, your decision to act builds a solid foundation for the future. Over the years, we learn that those who make decisions and keep moving forward, even when the winds seem against them, are the ones who experience true growth and transformation. Think about this. A year from now, you may look back at this moment as the time when you decided to stop waiting. You might realize that it was your courage to act that started a cycle of positive changes in your life. Uh, the sense of achievement that comes from taking control of your own destiny is unparalleled. And that feeling of accomplishment, knowing you overcame fear and uncertainty, is something no one can take from you. Don't forget, every great change starts with a simple step. Let this video be the push you need to finally leave the shore and cross the river. Life doesn't wait, and true strength lies in knowing that no matter the conditions around you, you always have the power. Husher 2. Facing fears and challenges. Facing our fears and challenges is one of the hardest yet most transformative tasks we can undertake. How many times have you felt paralyzed, holding back from that first step out of fear of failure, of not being good enough, or simply of facing something unknown? And in that moment, an inner voice whispers, "Not today. I'm not ready yet." But what truly holds us back isn't the challenge itself, it's the way we perceive it. In Stoicism, there's a practical wisdom that teaches us to shift this perception and face the world in a way that not only frees us from fear, but also encourages us to grow with each obstacle. The ancient Stoics believed that true resilience lies within our minds, and this can be a powerful revelation for anyone feeling stuck. Imagine standing alongside one of the great Stoic masters like Seneca. He, who lived surrounded by political intrigues and faced intense pressure, deeply understood fear and uncertainty. In one of his letters, Seneca tells a story about how he learned to face challenges head-on. He describes a moment when, feeling cornered with no way out, he realized his anxiety and fear were swelling because he had elevated the obstacle, making it appear much larger than it actually was. Seneca then realized that if he stopped feeding this distorted view and instead saw the challenge as a series of small actions, he would find the strength to move forward. It's not the challenge that's too big, he would say, but the way we view it. Seneca discovered that by breaking his fears down and dealing with them one step at a time, what once seemed insurmountable became manageable. This is one of the deepest secrets of Stoicism. The challenge is not in the outside world, but in how we interpret and respond to it. A perfect example of this can be found in the life of Marcus Aurelius, the great philosopher-emperor. Marcus Aurelius faced the daily responsibility of leading an empire in crisis, surrounded by wars and betrayals. He could have easily felt overwhelmed, but he chose to see fear and difficulties as his teachers. He left us a precious lesson when he said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." He faced every challenge as an opportunity for growth, an invitation to strengthen his mind and expand his ability to adapt. So, what does this mean for us today? It means that the fear we feel before a major decision, before starting a project or making a change in our lives, is not the real obstacle. That fear is a projection we make onto the future, imagining worst-case scenarios and convincing ourselves we aren't strong enough to handle them. Stoicism invites us to change this view and face difficulties as a process of building ourselves. Every small step taken toward what challenges us makes us stronger, more prepared, and above all, freer. Think about the mountain you are facing now. It could be the fear of starting a new job, moving to a new place, or changing a habit that no longer serves you. If you keep looking at this mountain as a monster, it will continue to grow. But if you take that first step, a small step, you'll see that this mountain dissolves into manageable tasks. The challenge ceases to be an insurmountable giant and transforms into a series of actions within your reach. This is the power of the first step. It's the key to transforming fear into learning, hesitation into strength, and doubt into self-confidence. Imagine how your life would change if each time fear arose, you chose to see it not as an enemy, but as an ally there to help you grow. With every step you take, your confidence increases, and you begin to see that challenges are not barriers, but doorways to a stronger, more resilient self. Stoicism teaches us that by taking a step into the unknown, we expand our capacity to face life and deepen our understanding of ourselves. Truth 3. The importance of action in the present. Imagine yourself in ancient Rome. It's an early morning, and Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, stands before his students in a stone courtyard with the sun just beginning to rise. He carefully observes these young people, all full of ambition and dreams, but with one common characteristic: hesitation. Epictetus knows that many of them are waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity to do something grand. He looks at them and, in a firm tone, begins his lesson. The present is all we have, the past is gone, and the future is uncertain. The young students listen intently, and he continues, "You want to accomplish great things, but you hold yourselves back, waiting for the right time, the perfect courage. However, this waiting is a trap. The only time that exists is now, and if you don't act in this moment, you'll live a life of regret. What you do right now is what will shape your future." This brief story contains the essence of the Stoic lesson on the importance of acting in the present. Stoicism teaches us that living with a sense of urgency does not mean acting rashly or impulsively, but rather with the awareness that time is an illusion. Every minute that passes is an opportunity that will never return. Epictetus, along with other great Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, understood that waiting for the perfect moment is an invisible prison that prevents us from achieving what truly matters. If we look around, how often have we heard stories of people who postponed their dreams, who waited for the right day to start a project, change jobs, or pursue a passion? How many of these people ended up never doing these things? The truth is, waiting can become a trap, a disguised comfort zone where we convince ourselves that the best moment is yet to come. Stoicism challenges us to break this mental barrier and embrace the present. For it is only in the present that we can make choices, initiate changes, and shape our destiny. For Stoics, the present is like fertile ground. Every action we plant now will be the harvest of our future. By acting with intention in the present moment, we are literally building the foundations of what is to come. This view invites us to reflect. What are we planting today? What actions are paving the way for our tomorrow? Seneca, in his Letters to Lucilius, wrote, "Life is like a play. It's not the length, but the quality of performance that matters." In other words, the value of our life is not in its duration, but in the quality of our daily actions. Over time, we learn that procrastination is a subtle form of self-sabotage. Many times we postpone important decisions because we fear failure or worry about stepping out of our comfort zone. However, Stoicism reminds us that failure should not be feared. On the contrary, it is a strict but fair teacher that teaches us more about ourselves than success ever could. Acting in the present exposes us to failure, yes, but it also places us on the path of learning and self-improvement. Imagine that you want to learn a new skill, change your career, or improve your relationships. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, will it ever really come? Every day we delay these actions, we move one step further from our goals. Life is short, and the future is uncertain. Every decision we put off is an opportunity that may never come again. Epictetus used to say, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it." This phrase reminds us that we don't have control over the future, but we can choose how we will act in this moment. We can choose to cultivate courage, determination, and the discipline to take the first step today, right now. Stoicism teaches us that a fulfilling life is not built by waiting, but by acting. So right this instant, ask yourself, what can you do today that in the future will bring you pride and fulfillment? What have you been putting off that, if started now, could transform your life? Instead of waiting for the ideal moment, make the commitment to act in the present, because it is here, in this moment, that change begins. 4. Consistency as a pillar of change. True change is not the result of a single impactful decision or an intense, isolated effort. Instead, it's built patiently, day by day, through consistency, perseverance, and discipline, in small actions that over time become immensely powerful. Stoicism teaches that it is consistency, this quiet, resilient strength, that allows us to achieve our greatest goals and overcome even the hardest challenges. To illustrate this lesson, let's remember the story of the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who exemplified the importance of consistency as the path to transformation. Epictetus wasn't born in a palace. On the contrary, he began his life as a slave in Rome. He had neither power, wealth, nor status, but he possessed something even more valuable: the ability to find strength in his mind and resilience in his heart. Even in extremely adverse conditions, Epictetus learned that personal change and inner peace were not achieved through grand moments, but through small daily victories. One day, a young disciple came to him, frustrated by the lack of rapid changes in his life. The disciple had decided to practice Stoic philosophy and had been committed for months, but he didn't see the results he expected. Epictetus then asked him, "Have you ever noticed how a stone is shaped by the water that touches it day after day? It's not the force of a single impact that molds it, but the persistence of water falling, drop by drop, never giving up." Epictetus taught the young man that true transformation is like that stone being slowly shaped. It's not about the amount of concentrated effort in a single day or week, but rather how well we can maintain our commitment to small actions day after day with discipline and patience. When we think about it, consistency is the engine that makes everything possible. Think of any skill you admire in someone: a talented musician, an exceptional athlete, a great leader. None of them reached success in a single stroke of luck or one attempt. It was countless hours of practice, failures, small advances, adjustments, and above all, continuous dedication to their purpose. Consistency keeps us grounded on days when we don't see visible results, when progress seems slow, or when obstacles arise. It reminds us that the journey doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be sustained. This same consistency can transform any area of your life, whether in relationships, career, studies, or personal development. Stoicism doesn't preach an unattainable ideal. It preaches daily practice, the commitment to be a little better every day. And this continuous practice, this consistency, frees us from the anxiety of wanting immediate results. It invites us to commit to the process, confident that over time, each action, no matter how small, will build something extraordinary. Imagine yourself applying this lesson. Think of something you truly want to achieve, a dream that seems distant but inspires you. Now picture yourself taking small steps daily, without giving up, even if you don't see big changes right away. Like Epictetus, you'll realize that over time, these accumulated actions start forming a solid and concrete transformation, and one day you'll look back and see how far you've come. Thus, the real magic of consistency lies in the patience to repeat what is necessary until the impossible becomes possible. Don't let the lack of immediate, large advances discourage you. Instead, focus on small victories, celebrate each progress, and stay steady like water that, drop by drop, shapes the stone. 5. Building a resilient character. Building a resilient character is more than simply enduring tough moments. It's about transforming every challenge into an opportunity for growth and wisdom. Stoicism teaches us that just as muscles grow stronger through weight, our character becomes firm by facing life's trials. Virtues like courage, patience, and self-discipline aren't simply traits we're born with, but are strengths cultivated over time through conscious choices and daily practice. Imagine yourself in ancient Rome, among the marble corridors of the Roman Forum, where Stoic thinkers and warriors like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca once walked and reflected. Marcus Aurelius, both emperor and philosopher, bore the daily weight of leading an empire, balancing political pressures and constant war. He knew that the power he held over others was minor compared to the power he exercised over himself. In his book, Meditations, which he wrote privately in the early mornings, he crafted what he called a guide for himself, a series of thoughts to remind him of the virtues he should practice and the impulses he should control. Marcus understood that his strength as both a leader and a man came from the daily practice of virtues. One day, Marcus faced a severe epidemic and a wave of discontent in the empire. He felt the crushing weight of responsibility, but instead of succumbing to despair, he chose to see this challenge as a chance to fortify his character. He reminded himself that patience and courage were his greatest allies, and that the strength to face the world came from his willingness to resist and persist, regardless of circumstances. As he wrote, "When one endures a calamity patiently, without complaints or resentment. They not only face the challenge, but transcend the suffering and find peace. This story shows us that when facing difficulties, we have two choices. We can succumb to the weight of problems, or we can use them to strengthen our essence. By developing a resilient character, we prepare ourselves not only for known challenges, but also for the unforeseen trials that will inevitably arise. Every time you practice patience, resist the temptation to react impulsively, or make a courageous decision despite fear, you are building a solid foundation of resilience that will become your greatest ally. Resilience isn't armor you put on to be ready for anything. It's more like a tree you plant and nurture daily, rooting itself more deeply over time. When storms come, you may sway, but you won't fall because your roots are strong. And this inner strength grows each time you commit to being better, braver, and more patient. Imagine the satisfaction of facing a future challenge and realizing how much you've changed, how much stronger you've become. This is the gift of a resilient character, the sense of peace and self-assurance, knowing that whatever happens, you possess the virtues needed to handle any situation. 6. The power of wise choices. The power of choices is a silent force that shapes our destiny every day. Often we underestimate how even a seemingly minor decision can bring us closer to or push us further from what we truly desire. Yet, Stoic philosophy teaches us that every choice matters, and it's our responsibility to choose wisely, guided by solid values and a clear vision of what truly matters. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who, despite having the power of the world in his hands, lived with rare humility and profound wisdom. He knew that his choices, even the seemingly small ones, resonated not only in his life, but across the entire empire. When faced with immense challenges, Marcus understood that as a leader, every decision needed to reflect the values he cherished: justice, compassion, and integrity. During one of the most difficult periods of his life, amid a severe economic crisis and a series of conflicts that threatened Rome's stability, Marcus could have taken the easier path, one offering quick relief from pressure. Instead, he chose the harder but honorable path, investing in the well-being of the people and staying true to the values he believed in. Marcus Aurelius shows us that every choice is an opportunity to align our lives with our principles. Stoicism reminds us that truly wise decisions are made not merely to relieve momentary discomfort, but to bring lasting good, reflecting our deepest values. Like him, we should seek wisdom in every decision we make, aware of the impact these choices have, not only on our lives, but also on those around us. In practice, making wise choices means questioning at each moment whether we are choosing with awareness or merely reacting to external pressures and distractions. When facing a challenging situation, Stoicism teaches us to pause and reflect. Is this choice aligned with the person I want to be? Does it contribute to my growth, my inner peace, and my purpose? Stoic wisdom invites us not to be led by fleeting emotions or impulses, but to be guided by steadfast principles. Think about the small choices in your day. With each decision, you have the chance to act in alignment with your values or to stray from your path. It might mean choosing between spending time on something that truly adds to your life or wasting it on distractions that drain your energy. It could be a choice about how you respond to someone who irritates you, opting for calm rather than impulsive reaction. In these moments, wise choices reveal their power, showing us that rather than being prisoners of circumstances, we have the power to shape them with every decision we make. The secret to wise choices lies in developing constant awareness and a strong sense of personal responsibility. Every action counts. Each choice creates a small shift in the direction of our life, and over time, these shifts can lead us to places we never imagined. This is the beauty of Stoicism. It reminds us that the power to transform our lives lies within our hands, and that true success is living in accordance with our deepest values, even if no one else sees or acknowledges it. 7. Acceptance and learning from mistakes, the Stoic path to wisdom. Life is a journey full of highs and lows, successes and failures. Each decision we make carries consequences, and often these outcomes don't align with our expectations. We might feel that if things don't go as planned, we've failed. But in Stoic philosophy, we find a fundamental lesson. True wisdom comes from accepting our mistakes and learning from them. In Stoicism, especially in the writings of Seneca and Epictetus, we find a clear understanding that we can't control everything around us. We can plan, act wisely, but the outcomes are often beyond our control. Many people become lost at this point, blaming either themselves or the world for unexpected results. Stoicism teaches that while we can't control outcomes, we can control our response to them, and it's this response that defines our growth. Consider the story of Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers. Born a slave, Epictetus faced many restrictions imposed by his circumstances. One day, after being brutally beaten by his master, he found himself with broken bones. Instead of succumbing to resentment, he simply said, "I am not responsible for what happened to me, but I am responsible for how I respond to it." This phrase perfectly encapsulates the Stoic concept of acceptance. Rather than blaming fate or his master, he accepted the pain as part of life and focused on how he could grow from the experience. This brings us to an important lesson about mistakes. We should not fear failure. Failures are inevitable. Everyone falters at some point. But what makes someone truly wise is not the absence of mistakes, but how they respond to them. Every mistake carries a lesson, an opportunity to learn, a chance to refine our skills and vision. True wisdom is in identifying what we can learn and improve from each failure. However, many people avoid mistakes at all costs. They try to minimize risks, gravitating toward a path where safety and predictability seem more appealing than the possibility of failure. But life is never entirely predictable, and more importantly, it is in our mistakes that we truly grow. Rather than fleeing from error, Stoic philosophy teaches us to embrace it with an open mind, knowing that, however painful, it is a hidden teacher. The story of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, illustrates this well. As a leader, he faced countless difficulties, from wars to internal political crises. But Marcus Aurelius, instead of being crushed by his mistakes or leadership failures, saw each challenge as an opportunity to grow and learn. In his meditations, he often reflected on how mistakes and difficulties were actually chances to apply his Stoic philosophy. He believed adversity was a test of the soul, an invitation to demonstrate wisdom and patience. Rather than despairing over failures, he faced them with a commitment to continuous improvement. This is an essential aspect of Stoic acceptance. We should not fight against our mistakes, but embrace them as growth opportunities. By accepting our mistakes rather than blaming ourselves or becoming frustrated, we can truly learn from them. Self-blame creates internal resistance, generates more suffering, and ultimately keeps us stagnant. Accepting our mistakes frees us from the paralysis of fear and allows us to move forward with the assurance that, even in error, there is learning. It is essential to understand that a mistake is not a permanent failure, but a temporary part of the growth process. When we err, we have the chance to reflect, rethink our actions, and, most importantly, decide the next step. We can change our approach, adjust our perspectives, and try again. And if we fail again, it does not mean we're doomed to failure. Rather, our journey continues. A classic example of this is the philosopher Seneca, who, despite countless adversities in his life, never let mistakes define him. He frequently spoke of the importance of a resilient mind that understands failure is not the end, but merely a phase along the way. As he said, "Life is not short, we make it short." He believed that if we didn't take advantage of the lessons from each mistake, our lives would become empty without purpose. So, what should we do when we make a mistake? We should reflect on it, understand what happened, and most importantly, accept that error is part of living fully. Only then can we move forward, stronger and wiser. At this moment, I invite you to think, what are some recent mistakes you've made? Instead of blaming yourself, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow? Each mistake is a lesson in disguise, and when we begin to see it this way, possibilities open before us. Congratulations on making it this far and investing in your personal growth. The commitment and effort you've shown by learning and applying these lessons are truly admirable. You are on the right path to becoming the best version of yourself, and that is something worth celebrating with great pride. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, this is the perfect opportunity to join us on this journey. Together, we will explore the principles of Stoicism and transform the way we view the world. Don't forget to leave a like, as it helps us spread these ideas and inspire more people to seek self-knowledge. To let me know that you're genuinely committed to your progress, leave the word evolution in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the points covered in the video. See you in the next one, with more wisdom and inspiration to keep moving forward on your journey.